They always laughed at him, even when he never gave them a reason to. Samir worked as a mechanic in a small roadside workshop, hands always stained with grease, clothes smelling faintly of engine oil. He was quiet, humble, and used to being ignored. The wealthy guys from the corporate office across the street often brought their luxury cars to his shop, but instead of treating him with respect, they treated him like a joke. To them, he was just the poor mechanic, someone whose dreams they believed would never rise above broken engines and dirty tools. One afternoon, while Samir was fixing a punctured tire in the scorching heat, he heard them laughing again. 3 of them stood near the gate, whispering something mischievous. He didn't pay attention. He rarely did. But that day their voices reached him. They joked about how boring their week was, how they needed entertainment. And then one of them proposed an idea, setting Samir up on a blind date as a prank. They all cracked up as if they had discovered gold. The plan was simple. They would tell Samir a girl wanted to meet him, a girl far out of his league, someone elegant, educated, and beautiful. They expected him to show up nervous, poorly dressed, and clueless. They wanted to watch him make a fool of himself in front of someone who would surely reject him. And for them, that humiliation would be the punchline. That evening, one of them approached Samir pretending to be friendly. He told him that a girl they knew had seen him at the workshop and found him interesting. At first, Samir didn't believe it. Why would someone like that be interested in him? But the guy insisted, saying she liked hardworking men and wanted to meet someone genuine. Hesitant yet hopeful, for once in his life, Samir agreed. They chose an upscale café for the meeting, a place Samir had never entered before. The moment he said yes, the group rushed to a corner where they laughed loudly, thrilled about the upcoming show. Samir spent the rest of the night unable to sleep, thinking maybe, just maybe, someone actually saw value in him beyond the dust and grease of his daily life. The next evening, Samir stood outside the café, wearing his cleanest shirt, still slightly worn at the collar. His heart raced as he looked around, unsure how to behave in such a polished place. The waiters glanced at him curiously as he entered, but he ignored the looks and took a seat near the window. As he had been told, the pranksters were already hiding at a distance, pretending to be customers while secretly recording everything on their phone. What none of them expected was who walked through the door, dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit. Maya, the daughter of the CEO of the very company the boys worked for, stepped inside. She was known for her kindness and down-to-earth nature, but she still belonged to a world far above there. The boys froze. This was not part of the prank. They had told her the wrong table number while trying to impress her earlier that day. She thought she was meeting someone else, not realizing she had been accidentally sent to Samir. Maya approached his table with a warm smile. "Are you Samir?" she asked gently. He stood up quickly, startled. "Yes. Are you the one I was supposed to meet?" She nodded, assuming everything was legitimate. The pranksters stared with wide eyes, whispering frantically. They couldn't interfere now without exposing their whole plan, and Maya was someone they feared embarrassing. They sank into their seats, helpless and terrified of what might unfold. To their shock, Samir didn't crumble under pressure. Though nervous, he spoke respectfully, answered her questions honestly, and showed no trace of pretension. Maya found his sincerity refreshing. She asked about his work, and instead of feeling ashamed, he talked passionately about fixing engines, solving problems, and helping customers who trusted him. She listened with genuine interest. The boys expected her to be disgusted, but instead she leaned forward and smiled. "You know, I really like your honesty. People in my world pretend a lot, but you're real." Samir blinked, unsure if he heard correctly. No one had ever said something like that to him before. Meanwhile, the pranksters realized something horrifying. The prank was backfiring in the most unexpected way possible. As their conversation continued, Maya kept finding more reasons to appreciate him. Samir wasn't trying to impress her. He wasn't showing off, lying, or pretending to be someone he wasn't. He simply spoke from the heart, something she rarely experienced in the polished business world around her. She asked him how he learned mechanics, and he told her about losing his father early in life, taking responsibility for his family at a young age, and choosing to work with dignity instead of begging for opportunities. Maya listened with admiration. "That takes courage," she said softly. Samir felt something he hadn't felt in years. Respect. Genuine, unfiltered respect. The group of pranksters, sweating in fear, whispered among themselves, "She actually likes him. This is bad. If she finds out we planned this as a joke, we're finished." Their faces turned pale as they watched the CEO's daughter smiling warmly at the man they had tried to humiliate. Meanwhile, Maya asked Samir if he'd like to walk outside for some fresh air. They stepped out of the cafe, away from the fake customers spying on them. The evening breeze was cool, and the city lights shimmered across the street. Samir relaxed a little as they talked about life, dreams, and simple joys. Maya told him she hated being judged for her wealth, and wished people would treat her like a normal person. He nodded, understanding more than she expected. "You're different," she said suddenly. "Most men try to impress me because of who my father is, but you don't seem to care about that." He smiled shyly. "I don't know anything about your world, but I do know how to treat someone with respect." She held his gaze for a moment. Something unspoken passed between them, a connection neither had expected nor searched for. Back inside, the pranksters were panicking. Their plan had slipped completely out of their hand. One of them suggested leaving quietly, but another warned that running would only make things worse later. Eventually, they decided to stay and hope Maya never asked how she ended up meeting Samir. But fate had other plans. As Maya and Samir walked back toward the cafe entrance, she suddenly spotted the familiar faces of the boys. Confused, she frowned. "What are they doing here?" she asked. Samir turned. He had no idea either, but the fear on their faces told her something wasn't right. Maya stepped toward them with calm, steady footsteps. The boys froze, their phones hastily tucked away, their smiles trembling. She crossed her arms and asked, "Why are you here? And why have you been watching us this whole time?" They stuttered, exchanging frightened glances, trying to come up with a believable excuse. But Maya wasn't naive. She noticed their nervousness, their guilt, and the way they couldn't look her in the eye. Finally, one of them broke. "It was supposed to be a joke," he whispered. "We told him a girl wanted to meet him. It was a prank. We didn't know you would show up." Samir felt his stomach drop. His face burned with embarrassment. He looked down at the ground, feeling foolish for believing something so unreal. A sting of humiliation hit him deeper than any insult he had endured before. He took a step back, wanting to disappear. But Maya's reaction stunned everyone. She turned toward Samir and said firmly, "I'm the one who should be here. Not because of them, but because I wanted to spend time with someone honest." The boys gasped. Samir raised his eyes slowly, confused. She stepped closer to him. "I meant it when I said I liked you. Nothing they did changes the fact that I enjoyed talking to you." Her voice wasn't pity, it was sincere. Then she turned to the pranksters with a tone colder than ice. "Tomorrow morning, I will speak to my father about your behavior. If you think humiliating someone for entertainment is acceptable, you don't deserve to represent our company." Their faces drained of all color. They begged, apologized, pleaded, but Maya didn't waver. She wasn't seeking revenge. She was protecting someone who had done nothing wrong. Samir tried to stop her. "It's okay," he said quietly. "They don't need to lose their jobs because of me." But Maya shook her head. "It's not about you, Samir. Respect matters. And today they crossed a line." She then offered to walk him home. As they strolled down the quiet street, she spoke gently. "I'm sorry you were dragged into a prank, but I'm glad I got to meet you. You're someone I want to know better." For the first time that night, Samir smiled genuinely. Life had surprised him in a way he never imagined. What began as a cruel joke had turned into something unexpectedly beautiful, because someone finally looked beyond his worn clothes and saw his work.